fitness and wellness expert, naturopath, and adventure enthusiast Wendie Pett.
And my husband, Todd, is Burner. He's a fundraising guru, men's mentor, and Bible scholar.
And as a couple, we're going to share riveting breakthrough stories from our guests who've experienced the meaning of a changed life.
Our hope is that you will be inspired, equipped, and entertained along your own life journey.
So lean in, listen well. This could be your biggest breakthrough. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Your Biggest Breakthrough. I'm Todd Isberner.
And I'm Wendie Pett. And on today's show, we're going to talk about your biggest breakthrough and how sometimes your biggest breakthrough isn't the grandiose biggest breakthrough you think it's going to be. It's actually a lot of small little breakthroughs that lead to your biggest breakthrough.
Well, it is true. Every single one of us want and need breakthroughs in various areas of our lives. And I do think the tendency is oftentimes to look for the big, gigantic, miraculous breakthrough. and actually, a lot of our guests share those.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And you probably have your own story too, but there are these series of little breakthroughs that can lead to bigger things along the way and really develop our character and give God an opportunity to work out the circumstances in a way that makes sense from his vantage point and eventually from ours.
Yeah. And so that's what we want to share today is just a couple stories. I might have shared my story on the show before, but I wanted to share again.
Wait a minute.
What?
You're going to share your story?
Well, not my story.
It's going to be your breakthrough?
Well, it's
I
not.
thought we were going to have somebody else's story. All right,
well, those are the other episodes.
Listen, you share your breakthrough story, one of them.
Okay.
And I'll share one of mine.
Oh, okay. Excellent. I love it. I love it. So, Todd and I were talking before the show about how, the breakthroughs aren't always these grandiose things, but it leads to it. And there was a time when in my business career and just life, I was just feeling very taxed, like my schedule plate.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Are you saying this because it's kind of tax season when we're recording this?
No.
Tax in another way. Sorry about that. I shouldn't. Every once in a while,
that's been extended actually, thanks to
the
pandemic.
Yeah, but we don't want our personal taxation of being taxed in life to be extended. So okay, I know what you mean.
And so my schedule plate, if I can use that analogy, was just so full, and it wasn't always full of the right things. And I was just saying yes to everything, and because I love what I do, right? And so I was saying yes, and not necessarily to be people pleasing or anything like that, but I genuinely love what I do, and I want to be a part of these different ways in which to share about Visibly Fit.
Well, and I think I probably was giving you a hard time too, because I wanted to be first on your agenda.
Seriously. I mean, it's so true. We can have that schedule plate so filled up that we're pushing off the very thing that's so important. And so, yes, I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. This is a public apology. Yeah, you did.
No, but the reality is you certainly were way, way overloaded, and it was hard to see you go through that.
Yeah. And I really just hit a wall, like almost, it was a spiritual wall that I hit. And I'm just like, I was out one day on a run, and I'm just duking it out with God. That's a really good time when I go for my walks and my runs, that I'm just having a great intimate conversation. I'm a little bit angry. I'm like, come on, God, I'm doing all these great things and I love it. But I'm so tired. And what do I do? How do I change this? And finally, I just really heard, and it stopped me in my tracks, just like seriously like that. And I heard, you don't have to do this. And I thought, well, what do you mean I don't have to do this? And I thought, yeah, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm hearing you, God. I'm going to stop talking for a moment and hear your still small, quiet voice. And that was what he said is, you don't have to do this. Financially, we don't, all the things, you don't have to. And I thought, you know what, God, you're so right. I get to, and I want to. And I was so excited and so lifted up and so rejuvenated as I had that conversation, that intimate conversation with God, that was really a breakthrough in how I do business today. I get to.
And you said to God, you're so right.
Of course. You're so right, sure. God. Can you imagine that?
Appreciated hearing that. Oh, whew. I came close on that one. No, but that shows the level of your intimacy with the Lord. Yes, you're so right. I get to, it's not that I have to.
Right. And this is so true with so many of us that maybe if you're listening and you're feeling really taxed and you, not because of tax season, but taxed because of all the things that you have on your to-do list or on your schedule plate. just realize that you don't have to do all those things. You get to, and so you get to choose and put healthy boundaries around your schedule, and really figure out which ones are the ones that God wants you to go through. And so those are some of the things that He revealed to
Mm.
me, and I just feel so free, and I love it. I love it.
Well, I wanted to talk a minute because about the whole idea of the pressure that we feel.
We put on ourselves.
We do, but also there's a lot of pressure others put on us too,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so we end up having these responsibilities in life that you really can't avoid. There are certain things you have to do,
Yeah. Depending on
but
the season in your life and what's
yeah,
going on.
but I love
Sure.
the attitude of having the get to for the have to, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
you can't escape that, especially in today's world. And those of you who might be raising kids, or you've got certain responsibilities at jobs that just seem to be just mounted way over what you can possibly handle. There is a time and a place where you have to come to grips with what is real and what is not real. And the reality is, you were not designed to have to do it all. You just
Hmm.
can't.
Yeah. You can
So,
resign the cape of being the superhero,
yeah,
right?
but you had to go through it because, this led up over a period of time.
Sure. Yep. Yep.
You were getting jumbled up in trying to figure out what are the priorities, because every one of them seemed to be the priority,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so it took a toll on you.
Hmm.
And just tell our listeners a little bit about, just personally, what sort of toll did it take?
Well, just I mean, tossing and turning at night.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was even putting my marriage, my husband, into a different place that he deserved to be at the front of my
Well, you
list.
weren't
Not,
laughing as much either. I
yeah,
mean,
right. I
took
was a little
this,
more
yeah, it took the
serious.
smile away.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's very true. And I'm a
and
laughy kind of gal.
you are,
So
you absolutely
I
are.
didn't feel
And
like myself.
yeah, you didn't have the same freedom
Right.
because you felt so oppressed by
Right.
all the things you have to do,
Right,
right?
right, right. And again, some of those
So,
have tos were things that I put on my schedule plate.
mm,
It wasn't that God wanted me to do them. I mean, He doesn't need me to do any of them. He's given the opportunity, and so we get to see things with fresh eyes and through His eyes. And even if it's something like, if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're caring for your kids, and during the pandemic time, and it can be so much stress, or maybe you're dealing with an aging parent, and
mm,
it's like, okay, I'm going to look at this through fresh eyes of, I get to, like, thank you, Lord, this is
mm.
this is the season I'm in. And so I'm being present, and I think that's where I was missing out too. I
Yeah,
wasn't as
you're
present.
right.
And now I have the gift of just being free and being present, and
Mm.
realizing, okay, this is how we're supposed to roll.
So you had the tremendous advantage, if you will, of, first of all, being really ripe for a breakthrough,
Yeah, and listening.
right? And well, and then you're out on a walk,
Yeah.
and
Well, it was a
you,
serious run because I was
okay,
duking it out.
but you were, that's the main thing, though. You were being honest with God about
Yeah.
where you were at,
Yeah.
and you somehow were able, in the midst of all your crazy, fast, loud head talk, God was able to break through with a word.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that that is an important lesson for all of us, to make sure that first we're being really honest about our situation. And then
Yes.
secondly, that we're being honest with God about it and just saying, I can't handle this. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. And then thirdly, to be in a place to expect that God does not want you there, and He wants to talk with you about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then it's a matter of really listening and trusting to what He has to say.
And being intentional with
Yeah.
those words that He speaks to your heart.
Mm.
And so that's kind of my many breakthroughs, and maybe they were
Did you
um,
say mini or many? A little bit of an
mini
accent
mini
there. It's hard to
Manny, mini
tell. Yeah.
Manny,
Yeah.
um,
It was a mini breakthrough, but
that led to a larger one. So
what was the larger one? Is that still coming?
no, I had
Oh,
it.
sorry. I sort of,
It's the
so
I
the,
get to.
okay.
But we want to
I
hear
thought, yeah,
your story. Like, this is something that,
I don't really
yes, you
think I
do.
need a
Well,
breakthrough,
and again,
Wendy.
we've shared these on the podcast before,
We have?
because yeah, we actually have.
I don't
And
remember
different,
that. You sure?
well,
Well, look, if I don't remember it, nobody else does either. I promise you that. It's like, oh yeah, episode 13. I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
recall.
yeah.
No,
No,
no.
but it's so important to hopefully that you find relatability in this,
Yeah.
because you may be in a place right now where you're just feeling so like up against the wall, and you're done. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm just, because that's where I was. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm so exhausted. I'm done. And just having fresh new eyes on
Yeah.
everything. So tell us about your fresh new
So
eyes
mine's,
on your
well,
situation.
mine's a little different in the kind of breakthrough that I experienced. And again, all of us experience various breakthroughs we can point to, whether it's in our relationship with God, or relationship with someone else, or something that happened on the job, or in our physical health. I mean, thank God. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
grateful
Yes.
for all the opportunities He gives for these breakthroughs. This one was kind of unexpected for me, but I've got to give the backstory on all of it. So I had a business called Share Media, and our agency helped Christian radio stations and other ministries raise their funding that's needed to keep them, on the air or in business. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful ministry that we had, where we could bring in our expertise to help them raise the funds. In fact, we literally would come in with a team. We'd go on a Christian radio station. We'd go on the air for 3, 4, 5 days. We'd have a lot of fun. We'd talk with listeners about the advantages of having a station like this and how they could help fund it, and really partnering with the radio station. And I really loved what we were doing. We helped Compassion International, Salvation Army, and a bunch of other great ministries as well, so that they could do what God had called them to do. And it was a high calling, one that I, sometimes underestimated in terms of the significance of it. But it got to a place after about 37, 38 years of doing this, where I realized, there are lots of other things that I want to
Mm-hmm.
do. And I was so consumed, was on airplanes and on the road a
A
lot,
lot.
traveling out to clients.
2 million miler right
There
here
you
on the
go.
air. 2 million miler.
Is this my special gift I got from the airlines? But this is a pen that they gave me. Yeah. Here, buddy, 2 million miles,
That's worth it.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But
Here's your
speaking
pen.
of,
Yeah.
earlier you said you may have been put on the back burner. Maybe I was too, because
Yeah.
we both love what we do
Well,
and we didn't see that.
sometimes you don't see what God is doing, but that's
Right,
a
right.
really good thing, because you and I would get really big heads if we thought we had anything to do
That's
with it,
true.
right?
That's true.
So it's good that God keeps that under wraps.
But not to be
Uh,
the workaholics that we were,
no, and that
right?
that was where I was at. I was very
Mm-hmm.
comfortable in it, kind of an adrenaline junkie,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, and just cranking along. But I also knew there were other things that I wanted to do. I really wanted to open up more time for ministering to men, just a whole
Mm-hmm.
men's ministry and a coaching program that I have now. So to do that, I knew I'd have to make a clear decision to back away, because I thought I could do all of this, but that just was not going to happen. So when I hit this place of being real with myself and saying, okay, you need an exit plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to put together an opportunity for some of the guys who were working with me to perhaps acquire the company, and it didn't work out. So I thought, oh no, there goes my exit plan, or at least it's on delay. But God surprised me, and He brought me another opportunity that I really wasn't expecting. So we were actually able to
God
to
wanted you to exit on His plan, not your
oh
plan.
man, boom, that's
Uh
so
huh.
true.
Uh huh.
So we basically merged the companies together. I sold out my portion of it and put it in the hands of a very, very capable, great company in Dallas, Texas, Dunham and Company, and was just blessed with the relationship, blessed to be able to do that, and blessed for the opportunity to begin to transition out. And over about a 4 or 5 year period, I was transitioning out, getting more and more time to do the other things that I wanted to do. But before all that happened, before we literally signed the papers on the deal, I got really nervous.
I remember.
And I was on my knees one morning. I have this little ritual, not all the time, but a lot of times I'll drop to my knees in the morning and I go through this little surrender. I say, well, God, it's all yours. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But none of it belongs to me. So I surrender to you my life, my health, my wife, my home, my career, my work, my share media. And then God stopped me that morning. He said, wait a minute, you surrender what? Share media, Lord, my company. I surrender what you do.
Uh
Because I was so nervous at that point in time. I was I was like an overindulging parent that wanted to hold on to my kid. I mean,
Oh, I
I
can kind of
birthed it,
relate to that.
raised it, and now I'm just going to like give it away. And so it was an emotional challenge for me to come to a place of actually saying, you're not going to own this company anymore. And but on my knees that day,
Mhm.
when God stopped me and said, I surrender my company. I said, what was that? I said, yeah, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I do surrender because it's never been mine in the first place. And it just hit me like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, who do I think I am that I own anything?
Right.
God owns it all. So it was
Right.
his company, his work. And I'm telling you, it so freed me to be able to say, God, thank you This is all yours, and I gladly and freely give it back to you.
And I was literally blown away to see the process, because I'm like, oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
just, it's so easy for you after 40 years or 41 years, whatever it
Yeah.
ended up being,
It
to
ended
just
up being,
let go. Like, how can you just do that? And he's like, it's actually kind of easy. I'm
yeah.
like, wow, okay, you were ready. And the transition was
Mm.
there, but he heard and felt from the Lord,
See, and I think that's
that
the key
prayer.
for
So
you and for me is, again, when we talk to God about things, and I wasn't necessarily having it out like you were. I was just going through my little ritual, but
yeah.
God is able to speak to us when we're open for him to speak.
Hmm.
And when he said, whose company is it?
Yeah.
He got me.
Gotcha.
So it actually did become very easy. I
Mhm.
mean, the transition itself took time. It was a process and whatnot, but that was for me a good breakthrough
Yeah.
that opened up doors for me to stay free to do what God wants me to do in the next chapter.
Yeah. And so this next chapter obviously is your biggest breakthrough podcast together. And Todd is mentoring men. I'm mentoring women with their health and their well being. And it's just, I mean, I've been doing Visibly Fit for a long time, but Todd has been mentoring men for many, many years. But now he's able to focus on that. And he's written a book, and I'm in the process of working on another podcast, Visibly Fit, and writing a book. And so we just, it's gives you freedom
Mhm.
to start doing the next thing that God has for you. And
Yeah.
so, those of you that are listening that might be in a place of feeling like just this burden of carrying it all. We just kind of want to encourage
Mhm.
you that maybe you want to have that prayer of God,
Mhm.
this is yours, and this is yours, and this is yours, and really surrender it all and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Well, here's what I really love about the Lord, and that is has a standing invitation for us to come to him,
Mhm.
all you who are weary and heavy laden. You're burdened with stuff,
Mm.
and he's going to give you rest.
Yeah.
He's going to say, "Take my yoke upon you. It's easy and light, and learn from me." So our encouragement is for each one of us to really take that to heart and either choose to believe it or don't believe it. If you don't believe it,
Yeah.
just keep going on, being overwhelmed and struggling.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that at the snap of a finger, God is
It's a
going to take all
process.
the burdens away, but
Mm-mm.
he's promised to carry them with you and to teach you along the way how to handle these things. And a big part of that is surrender
Yeah, it is
and
surrender
trust.
and trust. And if there's an area in your life that you still haven't fully surrendered and trusted, he will challenge you in that area, and not in a
Yeah.
bad way challenge, but kind of, so that you can be more. Become more like Christ. And so I mentioned this because my son is getting ready to join in just a few days. He's headed to join the Space Force via the Air Force, and talk about surrender and trust. It's like a whole new season, and it's exciting, and yet it's also brings up that same kind of emotion, right? And so it's interesting. So I get to walk through that, and we get to walk through that together intimately with God, with full surrender and trust that He loves Keegan more. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Mhm.
And
You think about
again,
that with your daughters and your grandkids, and all
yeah,
the ways in which we
yeah.
sometimes want to hang on
Yeah,
to.
my 95-year-old aging
Yes,
mother,
yes.
who we keep saying, "You can't go anywhere. We still need you, mom,
Yeah.
mommy."
She's like,
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready to
yeah,
check out
yeah.
and
No, she's yeah,
go see my honey up in heaven.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely true. So
Uh-huh.
there may be something that you're dealing with today, and you're feeling that desire of wanting to be able to let it go, and you're saying, "Well, how do I do that? How do I
Mhm.
let it go?"
Mhm.
Here's how you let it go. You just let it go.
I was like, where's
No,
the one, two, three
no, there
steps?
there is
No,
nothing you can do
no.
apart from simply letting it go.
Surrender.
It would be like me saying to you, "All right, here's the way you're going to stay oxygenated and your
What's
heart
that?
pumping,
I should change.
oxygenated with your lungs full and your heart beating. Here's the way you're going to do it. Go ahead and breathe."
Yeah,
You say,
right.
"Well, you don't have to tell me to breathe.
It's
I just breathe.
automatic.
I
Yeah.
just breathe." That's the way it is with surrender. You can't figure out how to surrender, or are there steps involved. You just let it go.
You just do it. And every
Surrender it.
person's surrender style will be different. I mean, it is just a do it, but
Yeah.
everyone's way in which they surrender is different.
Oh, you mean it
So
like the
the process,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah. Whether it's on your knees getting
uh-huh,
caught
exactly.
short by God
Or
with a
or
question,
running
or
and
yeah,
and crying it
yeah,
out,
or
and
somebody saying something to
yeah,
you, or a
right.
book you're reading, or a passage of scripture,
Exactly.
or a podcast that you're listening to.
Like,
Hello?
your biggest breakthrough. Hello.
Let it go.
Let it go. All right. Well, we so appreciate you. And we hope you enjoy this episode of Your Biggest Breakthrough. Feel free to jump in and subscribe
Yeah,
and
please.
leave a rating and review.
Yeah, share it with somebody else too if you
Yeah.
think not just this one, but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
so many good ones you really have to check through. There are some stories that are told with lessons to be learned
Oh, boy.
that will blow you away.
Hmm.
So check it out. And also too, if you're interested in talking to either Wendy or I
Yeah.
about what we're involved in, you can go to Wendy's website or my website.
Yeah. And it's wendiepet.com.
It's
P
WENDIEPETT,
uh-huh
wendypet.com.
.com or toddisburner.com, which is TODD. Now we're gonna
Oh,
spell
you
everything
have
out.
to spell my
I know,
last name.
TODDISBERNER.com.
There you
And
go.
there you will find information about our coaching, and we can help you have those small breakthroughs that could lead to your biggest breakthrough.
Got it.
All right, take care, and we'll catch you on the next session.
Have a great day.